Check, check. Alright. Alright. This is me getting used to the format of all this real quick. Take that. Check, 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 check. So, there we go. Alright. Let me give me some water real quick. So, actually, I could bring this over here. Check, 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 check. Mic check. Make sure my mic on. Check, check, check. Make sure my audio on. Yeah. We live. What's good, y'all? So today, I'm about to jump into this reaction thing. I've been meaning to do reaction videos, you know, trying to, I guess, we taking all this shit on social media and all this, all these different viewpoints. Some of them good, some of them bad. You know how it goes. I think it's important to, you know, hear people out and see what they got to say, instead of prejudging everything. So this is what I'm about to start doing. I'm about to start doing reactions as well. This one, I got Gothix here. I've been following Gothix for maybe like a day or so. I seen this What Is a Woman joint from Matt Walsh, like as far as promotions. So I wanted to check it out. So let's just get right into it, man. Let me grab the right mouse. Here we go.
What's up, everyone? My name is Gothix, and for today's video, I'll be reacting to What Is a Woman, which, depending on who you are, it may just be the most complicated question you'll ever be asked.
Right. That's the crazy part about this whole shit. Because you got to question that nowadays, which is pretty interesting to me that you got to even question that. But you're going to let Gothix keep talking.
Unless, of course, you're rooted in truth and reality, then it shouldn't be that difficult to answer in the first place. Now, this documentary was put out by the Daily Wire, and it's starring Matt Walsh. Now, in case you don't know who Matt Walsh is, he was the guy that recently appeared on an episode of the Dr. Phil show, and he asked two transgender individuals, what is a woman? If you're a biological guy and you're claiming that you identify as a woman, you should be able to easily define what it is you're actually identifying as. Not surprisingly, no one on the show was able to answer that question. So, what is a woman is the ongoing theme throughout this documentary.
Can you imagine doing a whole documentary with a bunch of people and you asking a simple question? What is a woman? And we talking about feminists and they all at women's rallies and all type of shit, right? But you asking them like, yo, what is a woman? You do a whole documentary and nobody can say what a woman is. Yo, it's getting spooky out here, man. It's getting spooky.
And it's intended to expose the lies and propaganda of the gender identity movement. Now, for the record, I'm not going to be reacting to this entire video because this is a pay-to-watch film, and I would rather you give your money to a place like the Daily Wire,
right,
as opposed to a company like Netflix, Hulu, or Disney, who are making content to actively promote gender identity ideology. If you're sick of seeing social justice or wokeness in all of your movies, stop giving your money to companies that make them. All right, so without further ado, let's get into this.
Is there a son trapped in my daughter's body?
There might be.
If so, how do I get him out?
I'm a licensed marital and family therapist, which basically means I've been trained up to think about.
Hold on. Let me bring that back. Is there a son trapped in my daughter's body?
Let's get into this.
Is there a son trapped in my daughter's body?
There might be.
This thing is crazy.
If so, how do I get him out?
I'm a licensed marital and family therapist, which basically means I've been trained up to think about like systems, family systems, how we were raised up, how that shapes who we are today.
Before I continue, if you don't know what a gender affirming therapist is, it's basically a fake therapist that agrees with whatever diagnosis the patient is giving them. So if a patient says, I feel like I'm the opposite sex, a gender affirming doctor would say, that might be true. Yes. It's fraud. It is fraudulent.
So on your website, if you'll bear with me,
Sure.
Quoting, you say, I use a combination of approaches in my therapeutic work, including anti-oppression, feminist, and narrative frameworks. I rely deeply on systems theory and understanding that individuals are products of and in dialogue with our surroundings, including our families, broader culture, workplaces, nature, and political climates.
That doesn't say anything. What is that?
I don't know.
What does that mean?
We live in gendered worlds where there are certain imperatives that are placed on us about who we are and what we do based on how we've been gendered. From the minute I was assigned female, I was told, okay, these are the kind of clothing that you're gonna wear, these are the kind of, the type of play that you're gonna engage in as a child.
Hold on, before she even said anything. So, like, for me personally, I never had, like, any of these issues before in my environment, right? So, when, I guess since I moved out to Florida, you know, working and all this stuff, you you come around these different people. This is a different environment. People speak differently. They're using their pronouns and stuff. I'm not used to that. You know what I mean? I call a spade from, you know, that's just my upbringing. I'm not against anything that anybody has for themselves, but only thing that bothers me is when you try to feed me information on how I should view things. That's my only discrepancy with shit like this. It's like, yeah, come on, man. So, ultimately, this is somebody who psychoanalyzes a child by affirming what they're already. So you're really like, hey, I'm a teddy bear. And then you basically say, yes, I can see that. Tell me more. It's like, come on, man. Come on, talk to me.
You were born, you weren't assigned, and walk me back to what you just said.
Right.
You were expected to play in a certain way, so your parents were telling you, no, you have to play in this way. I played with Transformers and Barbies when I was growing up. There was no expectation for me to play with certain toys. What?
That's not how gender works.
How do we know that that's not true? Where did we learn that from?
Yeah, well, I learned that from hearing from transgender people who've said, like, oh, I'm a trans woman, and just because I happen to have a penis, right, that doesn't mean that this is like who I am.
Oh, okay. So you've concluded that if someone has a penis but they say that they're a woman, they must be a woman because they told you. Of course, they told you. It came out of their mouth. It must be true. Did it ever occur to you that they're lying? People lie, ma'am. People lie.
How do I know if I'm a woman? You know,
That's a great question.
I like scented candles, and
Yeah.
I've watched Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Wait, I haven't seen Sex in the City, so maybe I'm not a woman.
My mom, who gave birth to me, is a woman, and my wife is a woman, though I haven't asked her.
Great question. I'm not a woman, so I can't really answer that.
Bruh.
Imagine the level of disconnect where you've convinced yourself that you don't know what a woman is even though you were born as a woman. This is how I know
Right,
this
it's
is
like,
a
why you running
deep-rooted
away from-
emotional issue.
Yeah.
They all say that it's an expression, it's their identity. Your gender isn't your identity. All right, this is why it's yuck when I see people with
Yeah.
pronouns in their bio and everything is my gender expression and
saying.
yada yada yada. After seeing all that on their page, I still have no idea who they are. Nothing, because their whole identity is their gender expression. It's the same thing I see with a lot of people in the black community where
Hold on. Before she get into what she about to say, make sure you go check this. If you interested, go check this Daily Wire, What is a Woman Out. It's shot well, it's produced well, and it's asking a simple question, and you watch people dance around that shit like it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
talk about blackity black. Okay, cool. Who are you? Tell me who you are.
I get what she's saying.
Womanhood is just a project of someone who identifies as a woman.
Yeah, but what do they?
What is it?
That's what I'm saying. What do they identify as? They identify as a woman, but what is that?
I honestly don't know.
This is the problem with saying you identify as the opposite sex. If you're unable to actually define it, what are you identifying?
Right. Like, how can you say I identify as a bike? Nigga, what is a bike? I really don't know. Like, how are we having these conversations and letting people just, you feel me? Like, letting people just get off the hook with this shit. Like, nah, man. Because that shit is going to fuck up the future. That's all.
As? You're identifying as
Excuse
nothing,
my
something
language.
whimsical. It's just,
It's a simple question.
yes.
Dr. Marcy Bowers, first of all, thanks for talking to us.
My pleasure.
So you're a world-renowned gynecologist and surgeon. You're also a transgender woman. Can you tell me a little bit about?
Well, I mean, I identify as a woman, but
You're a woman, right?
I'm a woman with, I mean, that's my life day to day, but I have a transgender history.
Sir, First of all, that is dangerous because men and women have different needs medically. So if you're saying there's no difference between a man or a woman and this person is a surgeon, they should be ashamed of themselves. But if there is no difference, you're going to misdiagnose people because now you can just be whatever and anything goes. You have a transgender history, you're a dude. You are a dude. It's okay to be proud of your dudeness.
Does anyone ever regret their surgeries? Or, well, we know they do, but how often do people regret their surgeries?
Well, actually, we don't know that they do. There are legitimate detransitioners, and there are people who truly feel that in their journey, they may have made a mistake. Now, fortunately, this is a really, really uncommon phenomenon.
It's very common. This is going to be the ongoing theme of gender identity as you get more into this. Gender identity is something that makes a lot of money. This person is a surgeon. They make a living off of creating fake vaginas and fake peepees, okay? It would be bad for business if this guy were to admit that people regret having gender reassignment surgery. Follow the money.
I don't know if you've ever heard of people in the trans-abled community. These are people who are physically able-bodied but feel like they should be disabled or identify as such. For example, a man who has 2 arms but feels like he should have 1. If a man in this kind of marginalized community went to the doctor and said, I want to have my arm cut off, do you think that...
That doesn't have anything to do with gender identity.
Well, it's someone's self-identity, how someone identifies.
That's someone who has an
What?
and I'll accept it as a mental.
Nah,
Has 2 arms but feels like he should.
Nah, sure. Play that
Follow the money.
I don't know if you've ever heard
Follow
of
this.
people in the trans-abled community. These are people who are physically able-bodied but feel like they should be disabled or identify as such. For example, a man who has 2 arms but feels like he should have 1. If a man in this kind of marginalized community went to the doctor and said, I want to have my arm cut off, do you think that...
That doesn't have anything to do with gender identity.
Well, it's someone's...
Right, it doesn't, but so what?
Someone's self-identity, how someone identifies.
That's someone who has and I'll accept it as a mental diagnosis,
that
psychiatric
What's the
condition.
difference?
What do you think believing you're the opposite sex is?
Right.
The medical term for it is gender dysphoria. That is a mental illness. Again, follow the money. They don't bring that up. They don't associate that with their practice because it's going to make them lose money.
Now, you had an incident here a little while ago that went really viral online. Lots of reaction in the public.
Aberdeen Councilwoman T.S.
I remember this.
My man's in
owner
him.
Don Suker about a sign he posted in his store.
If you are born with a dick, you are not a chick. What's wrong with the sign? What's wrong with that? Can someone explain that to me in the comments? Saying that's transphobic isn't an argument. Can you please articulate what's wrong with this sign?
One day I just put the sign up over here, and he came around the corner, and I thought, okay, I recognize him. I says, oh, I recognize you. You're our new city councilman. He says, no, I'm your new city councilwoman.
This individual was saying, I'm a woman.
Right.
And you said you're not a woman. How do you know that that person's not a woman?
How do I know?
Because he has eyeballs.
Well, common sense.
That too.
Trans women are women.
Look at this.
You're always
Look at this
yelling.
right here.
Chill
I know I
out.
have a lot of lurkers in the
Fuck is
chat
you
that are
yelling about,
always
man?
so ready. You're transphobic. Shut up. All right. I want you to pay attention to this. Look at this man's behavior. All right. The trans woman. Look at his
Right.
behavior. What is the main goal of the trans or gender identity movement? From my observation, it seems to me that the goal is more acceptance, more inclusion. What is so difficult about going to a different store, taking your money and going elsewhere? You don't like that sign? You vote with your dollars. No, instead, you have to go out into the street and cause a big scene because in your bubble, the world revolves around you. Ms.
I
Bull.
don't care if you think you're a sheepdog and you come into my store. it don't matter to me. Just don't come in and try to shove that shit down my throat.
Most people on this
Respect,
planet
man.
don't give a crap if you identify as whatever. The issue comes is when you try to force that ideology onto the rest of the world. When you start to say, you have to change your speech, you have to believe in this, you have to treat us with respect. When you lack respect about other people's personal beliefs, essentially you're burning bridges with the same people you're demanding acceptance from. Does that
Right.
make any sense to you?
My name is Michelle Forcier, and I have a medical degree from University of Connecticut, residency, University of Utah Pediatrics, and I've worked for a number of different Planned Parenthood.
You have to believe in this. You have to treat us with respect. Same people you've done abortion beliefs. Essentially, you're burning bridges with the same people you're demanding acceptance from. Does that make any sense to you?
My name is Michelle Forcier, and I have a medical degree from University of Connecticut, residency, University of Utah Pediatrics, and I've worked for a number of different Planned Parenthoods for 20 years. I do advanced contraception.
A lot of degrees, man. Let me tell you something. Don't let these people with all that paperwork fool you, yo. Just because a motherfucker's smart don't mean that they smarter than you. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, this is a lady who's also worked for Planned Parenthood doing abortion. So her input on this situation is pretty I'll let you say it.
Abortion as well.
Okay, so you worked for Planned Parenthood. You've done abortions. I'm just keeping notes here. And you're a pediatrician. And you have blue hair. I see where this is going.
At what age can a child first begin to transition into another gender or identify themselves as a gender different from how they were born?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's research and data that show that babies and infants understand differences in gender.
So what you're saying is, someone who's experienced in providing abortions at Planned Parenthood is aware of the emotional needs of infants and babies. Did I get that right?
Some children figure out their gender really early, and the reason why we say, oh, it's interesting or important is because they're figuring out their gender identity is not necessarily congruent with their sex assigned at birth.
Kids pick their boogers, can barely wash their own butt, but you're gonna let them decide their own gender identity. Did it ever occur to you that maybe a child isn't mature enough to even be thinking about these ideas? Did it ever occur that maybe they picked up on this nonsense from the adults in the room?
Have you ever met a 4-year-old who believes in Santa Claus? Santa Claus is real for them, but Santa Claus is not actually real.
Yeah, well, but Santa Claus does deliver their Christmas presents.
Do you understand the irony in this conversation? Even though you think that you are the opposite sex, that's not reality.
Well, yeah,
She
but he's not real, though.
Like, this shit was okay.
Child, they are.
When I see a child who, believes
The
in Santa
fuck is
Claus,
wrong with
and
people?
then let's say this is a boy and he says I'm a girl.
Does she look
This
miserable
is someone
now?
who can't distinguish between fantasy and reality.
Right.
So how could you take that?
Look
Look,
at her face. Look at her face.
Cut that shit out, yo.
This is why is this so difficult to understand? Kids are imaginative, they're creative, they play pretend. One day you're a superhero, the next day you're on a safari. That's the nature of having an imagination, but those things are temporary, right? Once the costume comes off, you're back to being a little boy or a little girl. This is going to lead to emotional trauma in the long run because you're convincing this child that their imagination is a factor of reality, and that's not reality.
I would say that as a pediatrician and as a parent.
Stop. As a pediatrician, stop saying that. Nobody cares. That these labels mean nothing. As a pediatrician, okay? What does that even mean anymore?
If I say that I feel a certain way, then obviously you can't tell me I don't feel that way. But just because I feel that way, does that mean that it's true?
I mean, if it's your reality, if it's your reality too.
It's your
Stop.
truth.
There is no your reality.
yo.
There is no your truth.
Oh,
my
man.
truth. My reality. The reality. The
Facts.
truth.
What we
Facts.
do in gender studies is
If that's
not
how
just
you view it, it
reduce
sounds like
gender
some.
to what's
Oh my god.
Professor,
Stop.
Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies, University of Tennessee.
What we tend.
My thing about the your truth and my truth and all this other dumb shit. It's just another way for people not to talk about the truth. What the fuck is really going on? Like, it's they said it's 3 sides to every story. Mine's, yours, and the truth. That has never changed and it will not ever change. But now we have to accept what your truth is. That's my truth. No, nigga, like, it's not your truth, bro. Like your truth doesn't end there. You live in a place where you coexist with other people, where there's perceptions and things are said in ways where maybe you only get them. You feel what I'm saying? So there has to be understanding on both sides before your truth even matters. But what it is like, oh, that's just the way I see it. And that's like saying I am who I am and deal with it. So you mean to tell me that a fucking pedophile can just be like, that's my truth and that's it? Like, no. I don't care if I took it to the extreme or not, but no. Like, man, that shit is trash, yo. That thinking, wherever this shit came from, it's trash.
To think about in the social sciences today is that sex refers to a set of biological characteristics, and gender is a social construct or category. What I think is often misleading about that characterization is allowed to be sort of messy and complicated. But in that framing, when you split them up into these wholly discrete constructs, studies about sexuality right now, and the kind of cultural ideas about masculinity, both in humans and in lots of other animals.
So are gender and sex 2 different things, or?
Bong. Bong.
This is a
bong. Like, sometimes you gotta bring people back. You let them, like, sometimes you let them talk, let them say what they gotta say, and they hit you with all these beautiful sounding responses as if it makes sense, like what they're saying makes sense, right? But then it's like, let's get down to the nitty gritty. I asked you a yes or no question, or, you know what I mean, an easy multiple choice question, but you fucking tiptoe and moonwalk around the whole question to not even give me an answer and think that your elaborate explanation will be it, and I just accept it. Like, can you imagine how many people bullshit their way through life? Fucking bullshitters.
Bait tactic. It's called word salad, and how it works is you just spew a bunch of random fancy words in the hopes that you'll convince the person you're speaking to that you're actually informed about the topic. But in this case, he said nothing. Again, a doctor and a professor. How, Sway? Tell me how.
We're talking about gender and sex, and there's a lot of controversies there. If we're talking about a trans woman has all of the male physical characteristics, so would that not be a male then? Couldn't we plainly say this person is a male?
Well, I guess it's like, why are you asking the question?
Wait. So I can't ask the question if, for a professor, right? You're teaching people. So the knowledge that you pass on to them should be the truth on some form or level, right? So if I ask you a question to get better understanding, your response to me is, why did I ask the question? That's like your girl cheating on you, and then you look through her phone and you find out she cheating, and her first response to you is, why you was looking through my phone? The fuck? Like, this is what this is. It's similar, same shit. Like, come on, man. Like, and he defeated because he don't know where to go with it.
Because you're at a university, you're a doctor and a professor. You are expected to allow an exchange of ideas, to uncover the truth. This is how we learn. You not wanting to answer the question says more about how loose these ideas are to begin with.
So if someone tells
Just
you...
to sort of understand reality, you know?
Well, I mean, I think when someone tells you who they are, you should believe them. So if a person says that they're a woman or they're a man, then that's them telling you their gender is.
So you're just going to believe someone's identity just because they say that it is? So if someone's a known pedophile and a criminal and they say,
Right.
I'm a good person, you can trust me. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Cut
Because
the
you
shit,
believe
man.
it.
Cut the shit.
This isn't intellectually consistent.
I just mean someone can make a statement about themselves that could be untrue. Like, for
Right.
example, if I were to say that I'm a black man,
Simple. Let's go.
would you accept that, or would you be skeptical?
Are you?
Oh, boy.
I'm just trying to start by getting to the truth, you know.
Yeah. This documentary is so crazy. I think it needs to be watched, man. It needs to be watched by logical thinkers. Like if you're gonna watch this, you can't be in your feelings about nothing. You know what I mean? Men, women, any of the different, versions of gender that you guys are in. You know what I'm saying? Watch this and just like, it's nothing wrong with your choice at all. But like, when these conversations come, we have to deal with logic, like, period. You know why? Because we have other people have kids that grow up in this world. So as a community, we have to find common ground instead of all this bickering and beef and over people feeling marginalized. It's like, come on, man. We all got some shit to go with, but at least if we honest, we can have an open conversation. Motherfuckers get to the point where they don't like what you're saying and they'll shut you down. They'll cancel you. They'll petition to get you off of platforms or whatever the case is because you chose to have a different way of thinking. And totally because they don't want to have a true open conversation about the truth. We got watch a little bit more of this, and then we're going to, because this is about 40-something minutes. I ain't doing too much live on this. I'm just going to try to, get back into just dropping shit. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really uncomfortable with that language of like getting
Oh,
to the truth again.
hold up.
Or would you be skeptical?
Are you?
So he asked him if he was
boy.
black. He said, "Are
I'm
you?"
just trying to start by getting to the truth. you
Truth.
know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really uncomfortable with that language of like getting to the truth again in social
why
life.
Why is that?
All right, so like when I see people say shit like this, I automatically become judgmental. I automatically look at them as a child growing up and what got them to this point in life. Like what got him to this point in life where he could actually say, honestly, you know what? I don't like the wording of that. Well, motherfucker, I ain't like the fact that you gave me a whole, what she called it? She said it's a word salad. You gave me a word salad response. Like, I didn't like that. But you smiled and gave it to me as if I was supposed to take it. But now I ask you something simple, and now you don't like this simple question of, is there a difference between sex and gender? That's a simple question, bro. Like, come on now.
Comfortable.
Because it sounds actually deeply transphobic to me.
And y'all throw that shit around, deeply transphobic. Like, no. That's a scapegoat type move. Like, nobody's transphobic, bro. That's like, at the end of the day, when a child, like, at a certain age, they're going to stop believing in Santa Claus, right? And then perhaps one day you run into an adult that's still, like, into Christmas and they still believe in Santa Claus and reindeer. And then somebody's trying to have a conversation about reality, and then you choose to believe that. Even though deep down inside somewhere you know what's real and what's not. You know it's no, like, come on, man. You know ain't no fat man in no red suit sliding down no chimney. You don't even got a chimney. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if we can't be real about the shit and then you just want to bicker and fight, it's like, get the fuck out of here, yo. And then you want to throw, oh, you transphobic. Are you Santa-phobic? You Santa-phobic? You don't believe in Santa Claus?
Yes, he broke, he crumbled. I want you to acknowledge what his demeanor was like at the beginning of this interview. And then look how quickly it turned into, that's transphobic, which, by the way, you're misusing the term transphobic, and you're a professor. That's pretty bad. But look how quickly it shifted. Let me explain to you what's actually happening here.
What happens?
In The Naked Communist, I always recommend this book. It's the most comprehensive book out there that explains where all of this wokeness is coming from and what it's being used for. Gender identity ideology, what they're teaching in school is communist propaganda, okay? This might sound upsetting to someone that got a degree in this. I would be too. And it could upset some people that actually believe this stuff. In summary, you're being brainwashed to be a next generation of Marxist. That's what it is. So, from The Naked Communist, they illustrate 45 goals of a communist takeover, and number 17 is get control of the schools, use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda, soften the curriculum, get control of the Teachers Association, and put the party line in textbooks. Now, you might be asking, why would they do that? In short, those seeking ultimate control over American lives must first create a detached and illiterate citizenry that is malleable to a false narrative and forgetfulness. Learning about gender identity isn't going to help you excel in life. This is an ideology that was made to infect the school system to make kids more emotionally reactionary as opposed to building emotional discipline and actually learning something that's valuable in the real world.
And if you keep probing, we're going to stop the interview.
If I probe about what the truth is?
You keep invoking the word truth, which is condescending and rude. I'm saying to you...
How is the word truth condescending and rude?
Why don't you tell me what your truth is, and you're walking on 30 seconds more than I
Look
do.
how mad he is.
Angry,
Look
yo.
how mad he is. You are a fraud. The fact that you're acting in this way, you're not cut out to be in that position. And this is just an interview. Like, even for me in high school, the kids were mean. They were so savage
How many times
to
have you
the
faced
school
this
administration.
with just having a
but
conversation
they
with
didn't
somebody, and that's
crumble
the type
with a
of shit
few
they do.
questions and being antagonized all day. This guy that is so sad, man.
The best way to approach it is by...
But yeah, we ain't gonna run her whole thing, you know what I mean? Just, you know, if you want to check her out, her name's Gothic. She definitely has some great content on her channel and great discussions, man. And it's an honor to even use some of her work, because I was looking up this What is a Woman thing, and I thought it was awesome that there was a woman talking about it. And I think that's important too, because yeah, I can say what I say about it, but it's also like we're man and woman, like as a unit, we're so fucking powerful, man. So if we can actually be on the same page about anything, it should be about the truth, you know what I mean? So definitely is important to me. Y'all stay blessed up, keep doing your thing. I'm gonna have more reaction videos to music. If you want me to react to something, send it in to me. Make sure you leave a comment, like, subscribe, man. Like I'll get my little slogans up. I don't got no slogans yet. I'm just going with the natural thing. So like, comment, subscribe. If you want to share it, make sure you go to the Daily Wire. It is paid content to watch What is a Woman, but I think it's needed. So, you know, y'all do y'all thing. Make sure you check it out. Like I said, one love. This your boy Kyler, man.